There we go. Ooh, good fish. All right, people. I am out here at this nice looking river behind me. I'm gonna try to do some wading today. I tried to go to another river earlier this morning, and it actually wound up being really, fast and muddy, stained. And usually when I'm fishing, I'm going to be wading. I really prefer clear water. It's just better to be able to see kind of where your feet are going, and it's sort of just like a confidence thing in terms of catching fish too. Like having that clear water, usually the fish are a little more, predictable in terms of where they will be when the water is clear in a river like this. So I got the ultralight set up with me today. Probably a little bit of fishing pressure happening here. And in general, when people are swimming around, fish tend to get spooked. So we're going to spend most of our time working our way upstream and just seeing what we can catch out here today. We've got our ultralight, so we're not necessarily targeting big fish. We're going to be using smaller lures, finesse type baits probably. So without further ado, you never know until you throw. So let's go. My ultralight spinning setup today, and I'm going to start off with this inline spinner. This is a spinner that I built a few months back, and I've been meaning to give it a bit of a trial run. I mean, I know it, the action is pretty good, but I haven't really caught any fish on it yet. So this is a all nickel, silver finish here, Indiana blade, kind of a long profile compared to a lot of other spinners out there. So I'm going to give this a good chance, spend a good amount of time with it, and hopefully we'll catch a few fish. And if not, then we'll move on to something else, something maybe a little more subtle. This water is quite clear, so that could be a factor today. Maybe this just is not going to be kind of lifelike enough. But we got some moving water here, some current to kind of start with, which is good. And I'm just going to start casting in this pool here next to the that current. See if there's any fish hanging around that want this spinner. So I fished this river slightly farther downstream a few years back, 2 or 3 years ago. I guess it was 2 years ago. Had something tiny just bump it. And it's, this river's got, the main, I guess, game fish species are probably the most popular species that people target here is smallmouth. Ooh, had a bite right there for sure. Surprised that didn't get hooked up. But last time I was here, this is actually where I caught my first smallmouth ever. Didn't catch anything big, but they're definitely in here. I also caught red breast sunfish and bluegill, and even a channel catfish out of here actually last time. So just have to see what happens out here today. Last time I was here, a spinner did catch a couple of fish, so I'm hoping this thing will be able to prove itself today. There's definitely another layer of I guess achievement, satisfaction that comes with catching fish on a lure that you built. So that's kind of the goal here today. See if we can get this spinner to connect with a few fish. Looks pretty good in the water. It spins very reliably. And we've got little fish following it, so that's usually a good sign. If the little ones are following, that usually means maybe a big one will follow it too. Or that it at least looks vaguely attractive to the fish. There's a fish. It's tiny. Just a little red breast he got off. That's all right. He was like 3 inches. Oh, something was following it. Something big. I think whatever it was either saw me or just wasn't interested there at the last minute. There we go. Ooh, good fish. It's a catfish. A little catfish. We're gonna have to be careful with this fish if he stays hooked. Give it a good fight. But these little catfish can dig those spines into you and cause you some trouble. This is probably the smallest catfish I've ever caught. It's a little channel. Man, he's not giving up either. We're gonna just play this guy for a bit until he gives up on us. All right, people. This guy's hooked pretty good. About a 10-inch channel cat on that spinner. There we go. I'm gonna be very careful here. Giving you one look at him. If he quits thrashing. Here we go. It's a pretty little fish there. Like I said, probably 11 inches, maybe 10. Little channel catfish. First catfish of the year. I'm gonna get a picture and let him go. All right, catfish. Get on out of here. All right, we got one, guys. Not a big fish, but honestly, considering the size of it, gave quite a good little battle there on the ultralight setup. So I'm happy with that. It didn't take, probably, we've been here maybe half an hour. I think the one that I saw before that was looking at it was bigger though. So maybe there's a bigger channel cat out there. Decent start to the day. I'm happy catching channel catfish. I'm not, you know, like I said, not going for a specific species today. So cool catch. I'm trying making some pretty long casts out here today with this clear water, just to avoid being seen by some of these fish. You know, fishing in this clear water can be kind of wary. And yeah, if you see your feet or your shadow kind of walking towards them, it can be all it takes to prevent that fish from hitting your lure. I think I got one. Or I had a bite. Or it's something tiny, I can't tell. Okay, there's a fish on there. It's just little. All right, fish number 2, people. If it doesn't shake off, we can get a look at him. It's a little redbreast sunfish. And then we made that cast downstream, and this little redbreast decided to hit it. Probably won't get a picture of this one because he's small. Maybe we'll run into a bigger one today. I'm not really sure. I feel like the redbreasts in here are usually kind of small. But fish number 2. See if we can get him unhooked. He's got 2 of the treble points in his mouth. There we go. One last look at that little fella. He didn't get much of a fight. Probably like 3 inches, maybe 4. See you a bit, Mr. Redbreast. Gonna try that again, see if we can maybe get a bigger fish to hit it. There's a fish. Oh, I got on. No, wait, no, it's still on there. It's just tiny again. Oh boy. Another little red breast. Had a feeling we were going to be running into a few of these today. All right, well, this spinner is definitely working, people. Not catching giants out here, but that wasn't really the goal today. That one's maybe an inch longer than the last one. I'll get a picture of this one. It's a bit more colorful. All right, little guy. Appreciate you. Be safe out there. Grow up big. Redbreasts tend to hang near to the bank a lot of the time, along any kind of cover. So that's what we're most likely to catch when we're sort of casting nearer to the shore. Another fish. Man, fighting a little better. Is it another redbreast? No, it's not. Ooh, guys, we have a cool fish here. It's a little rock bass. That's nice. That's a beautiful fish right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop, stop. Let me get you unhooked. All right, let's take a look at this fish. This is probably only like the third. I don't even know. I haven't caught many rock bass. This might be the first one, actually. I've caught some Roanoke bass, which are very similar. But not the Roanoke. This is a pretty fish here. Look at that. The dark trimming along those lower fins. Kind of a camouflage, sort of bronze toned body. And those red eyes. It's a very distinctive feature of this fish, those red eyes. Kind of an in-between sized mouth between like a sunfish and a bass. Like a more of a, you know, conventional black bass. I mean, like a large mouth or small mouth. I guess this fish is called a bass too, but it's sort of an in-between role. I'm going to get a picture of this one. We're up to 3 species already on one lure. I'm feeling pretty good about today now. Alright people, so we made a little switch here to the little Rebel weed crawl. We've had some success with this in the creeks earlier this year. There's a fish, guys, I think. Maybe it was just a bite. If there's a fish on there, it's tiny. Okay, it's a tiny fish, all right. Another little red breast. Went for the Rebel crawl crankbait. Well, it's probably the smallest fish so far, but I'm glad to be catching something. It's been a while since I hooked up with anything, so seeing some progress here. I guess I'll get a picture of this one and send him back. All right, fish. Good luck.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Glad to hear it. Conservation police, you having any luck?
A little bit, yeah, just some sunfish, mostly.
Yeah. Beautiful day for it.
Yeah.
You got your fishing license I can take a look at?
Yeah, sure, 1 second.
Yeah, take your time, you're gonna go to the bank or something like that.
Let's try to find a good place to put my stuff down here.
Probably the last beautiful day for a while. It's gonna get hot again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not looking forward to that.
Neither am I. It's not fun working outside. I have to go up here, you want to put the stuff on the front of my, it would make it a little easier for you.
All right, there it is.
Fold it over, you mind if I?
Oh yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, crack it open.
Hey. How are you? We are nowhere near our vehicles. We're on kayak. No radio. I believe you. We're gonna have to truck it. Looks sound.
Oh, all right.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Hey, no
Have
problem.
a great day.
Y'all too.
Yeah.
All right, people. So we moved on to our final bait of the day, most likely. This is just that Southern Pro crappie crawl on a 1/64 ounce jig head. You know, we've been trying several different lures, you know, moving baits primarily, trying to cover some ground here, but this stretch of the river just hasn't really been that productive. I just don't think it's a place where it's a lot of active fish. I mean, I've seen a good number of fish, but they're all small, mostly sunfish. So I don't know. I mean, we haven't had a bad day by any means, but it hasn't been special really either. I mean, we've caught a few interesting species. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. You know, pretty much all the fish have been small. Just gonna cast around this little plastic and see if we can either catch up more interesting species or at least just up our catch count a little bit. Here's a fish. Oh, it's a bass, guys. Decent. Decent smallmouth. Definitely one of the nicest fish. Man, he's not giving up. Come here, buddy. Wow. Strong fish here. Stay hooked. Stay hooked, buddy. On that tiny little bait, tiny little jig head. Not regretting this switch up, that's for sure. Come here, buddy. It's over for you. It's over. All right, people. Now that's a decent fish here. Not huge, but decent. This is probably in the class of fish that I caught the last time I was here. Beautiful bass here. Look at that. Pretty smallmouth. Gave a good tussle on the ultralight setup. It's a fine fish today. Wow. That's definitely made the day feel a little bit better right there. It's a beautiful, beautiful bass. I'm gonna get a picture of him and send him on back. Nice fish here, people. There we go. Beautiful bass. Appreciate you, bud. Gave a great fight on the ultralight setup as well. Wow. I think that's the biggest bass I've seen the entire day. And we caught it. Can't say that every time, can you? Sometimes you see the bigger fish and they don't bite, but it was a good one. Maybe they just really are keyed into these smaller lures. I'm getting nibbles right now. Here's a fish. It's a little rock bass. Saw him nail it. Small, but really pretty colors on this fish. Out of my hand. Look at that. That's a pretty fish. It's only about 4 inches, but beautiful rock bass here. Oh man, glad I made that switch. This is, wow, night and day. I just needed something slower, something more finesse. Just something slow, sinking to the bottom. All right, people, so fortunately I've got some bad news about part of this video, this fishing day. You know, we actually had a couple more, you know, pretty good catches that I made before I wrap things up here, but several of the video files from that fishing session just ended up getting corrupted, and I couldn't recover them. So unfortunately, that footage was not saved, and I'm not going to be able to share it with you. But I will post just some pictures of the last couple of catches that we made that day. You know, there was a really nice bluegill actually that hit the crappie crawl. It's probably like a 7-inch bluegill from the river there. So I'm going to go ahead and post a picture of that fish. And then we also got another pretty good smallmouth, like a 10 to 12 inch smallmouth as well. So those were kind of the final catches of that day. You know, a pretty good day out there at the river. Just kind of had to go really finesse, and yeah, we were able to get one of our hand-built spinners to catch some fish as well there at the beginning. So I'm going to leave a link to my Etsy shop in the description of the video if you want to pick up one of my lures. Thanks again for watching.